Shalom, peace to the family. Once again, I'm Shem, and you are now watching part 2 of our series of the video tutorials for the book, What is the Higher Self? And in this part, we are going to go into the question of what is soul. Now, we already explained in the previous video tutorial or episode where we spoke about what is spirit. Because remember, as it's stated in the Most Holy Quran, it's stated that the higher self is human spirit clothed with soul. So now the next question is, what is soul? So when we get into soul, we're dealing with, in essence, the emotional body of a person. We have the life force or the life body, which is the essence of you, which would be your spirit. And remember, the word spirit comes from the Latin word spiritus, meaning to breathe or breath. Soul would be that emotional body. It allows us to have compassion, to express feelings and things of that nature. So while the soul can manifest in actual physical reactions, the essence of the soul is that which cannot be perceived by physical five senses. So I just wanted to point out, when we speak about emotion, another way to simply put it is emotion, because there's different definitions of the word emotion. Is what I like to use is emotion is energy in motion. I did a little write-up, E equals motion or E equals MC squared, which deals with relativity, but in terms of metaphysics, we're speaking specifically about that energy that moves through you. For example, love. You can't perceive love, but you can perceive the expression of love. You can't perceive pain, but you can perceive the expression or the reaction to pain. So these are actual things that we deal with when we have a soul. There are terms used for people as soulful people, soulful music. That person has a lot of soul. Likewise, there are actual people that exist that they say are void of soul. For example, it states in the Bible where it said that Jesus said, "What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul?" So it is possible to exist with the spirit, but without the soul. And there was another thing I wanted to point out, which I didn't mention earlier in the previous video, is that there's also the Kemetic words, which I like to write real briefly, and I'll write it here. You have Ka, which equals spirit, and you have Ba, which equals soul. Those are two Kemetic words. And coincidentally, when you go, all Muslims, when they pray in the direction of a structure known as the Ka-Ba, phonetically related to Ka, spirit, and Ba, soul. So, law governs all events. And speaking of the languages, we'll also go into the languages pertaining to the Semitic languages that are used. As I wrote up here, this would be Ruach, which would be for soul. And over here, we have the Arabic word Ruh. Remember, Hebrew and Arabic are cognates of each other. They're dialects of each other. So this is also soul. And I pointed out a specific verse in the Quran of Mecca, which would be the 58th chapter, 58th surah, and the 22nd verse or ayah, where it speaks specifically about how Allah strengthens man with a soul. And I'm just going to briefly read that passage to let you know how it connects with the definition of the higher self. So with that said, we'll just go into it real briefly. And it says the following. It says, "Thou wilt not find folk who believe in Allah on the last day loving those who oppose Allah and His Messenger, even though they be their fathers, or their sons, or their brethren, or their clan. As for such, pertaining to those who have faith in Allah, He have written faith upon their hearts and have strengthened them with a soul from Him. So that combines with that statement that we spoke on, how the human spirit is clothed with soul. So your spirit clothed and strengthened with the soul. Also, it coincides with the first chapter of the Moorish Holy Quran, where it speaks about creative fate and how creative fate gave to spirit man a soul that he may function on the plane of soul. So that is also very key, because we know that our physical body allows us to function on the plane of things made manifest, what people mostly call the physical plane, the material plane. However, your soul allows you to function on a higher plane, the higher plane being a plane of soul. So that goes to the subject of 7 planes. In most fields of metaphysics, they speak about 7 planes. Even in the Quran of Mecca, they speak about 7 heavens, 7 levels of heaven. So we know, and I want to just show you from the book, an actual one of many different illustrations that we have. This is one of the illustrations that we have pertaining with the 7 planes as it correlates with the 7 chakras. So on the top, you will actually see where it says union with Allah, the bottom being the material plane. And actually is very important to note that when you deal with different philosophies, ideologies, and spiritual systems, you will have different names for the planes, the 7 planes. They won't all be the same. This is just one example of the 7 planes, or the terms used for the 7 planes. And I also mentioned the 7 chakras. So the 7 chakras, which I'll go into here, 7 chakras. The word chakra means wheel or circle, which actually coincides with the term of the circle 7, which we have here. So again, circle 7, 7 circles, 7 wheels, 7 chakras. So I just wanted to make that point out, that all this connects in Moorish science. What we call Moorish science touches on all these different things. And when you have a better understanding of exactly how your soul is connected to your spirit, and the fact that the soul and spirit are 2 different things, though they're often used interchangeably, when we go into our ancient languages, it wasn't one word that was used for soul and spirit. There were distinct words. So we always identify the soul and the spirit as being distinct. So those are very key things that I point out in the book. So this will conclude our second part of our video series. And with that, I say peace.